Avengers, a symbol. Welcome back. I'm Greg Sanders, the mightiest Marvel, and we are looking at the last character in our big trinity. So, as we've been kind of building upon this week and looking after our data mining overview, we have continuously discussed on our network of channels that the next three characters, based on the amount of information gleaned from data mining, based on how far along they were, that the next three characters were going to be She-Hulk, Winter Soldier, and Captain Marvel. Now, in an order, we could only speculate. She-Hulk was always the furthest along. It made the most sense that she was going to end up being the next one. Now, of course, they threw us a curveball. It's Winter Soldier. She-Hulk was pushed back. Obviously, in terms of data mining, there's nothing to glean there. We don't have developer insight. We don't have a developer commentary that we can attribute, and the developers simply won't comment on it. But for all intents and purposes, she was further along at one point, and it seemed as though she was going to be next. Now they threw a curveball. We're getting Winter Soldier. That left two characters from that trinity, which was Captain Marvel and She-Hulk. Now we previously discussed Carol Danvers and kind of talked about that a bit, and now it's time to talk about She-Hulk. I still firmly believe that we will at least get these next two characters in terms of She-Hulk and Captain Marvel. Obviously, the question comes up. I get it. I can acknowledge it. Yes, every game ends. It's impossible to know when Marvel's Avengers will end, but it hasn't ended yet. So there's no reason to question whether or not we'll get these characters. I believe we will get at least these two. Beyond that is a completely separate conversation, and it's one that I'm willing to have and to discuss with all of you, but it is a separate conversation. Now, I say all of that to say this. I feel like She-Hulk will be the next character. Because again, we have recordings. The character. It seems like she's completely ready to go. I can't imagine them delaying it, or never releasing her. If you even want to go that far, if you want to look at it a certain way and go, oh well, November 29, we're getting Winter Soldier. I guess that's the last character for the year. Maybe. But maybe not. I mean, again, I know I'm speaking loosely, and I'm speaking from, and again, I'm just speculating wildly, but there is none that says She-Hulk can't come out at the very end of December. Obviously, we've only gotten two characters this year if we don't get She-Hulk, but, again, we'll see what happens. It is very possible, though, that we get She-Hulk at the very, very tail end of the year or very, very early in January, just because I just don't see why she's being held back for so long. Obviously, again, I reiterate, we don't know the relationship with Crystal Dynamics and Marvel. We know everything has to go through Marvel. We know that there is a lengthy and significant approval process, and it is tedious. We know that. Okay? So maybe there's a reason Marvel's saying, no, you can't put out She-Hulk yet. Obviously, we don't have an awareness on that. We don't have insight into that. All of that being said, though, there's no reason to doubt the release of She-Hulk isn't imminent following Winter Soldier. I don't see why She-Hulk would not be an early 2023 release. I just don't see why not. That's how I feel about it. I feel very strongly about that. Our data mining and our interpretation of our data mines have been on point, to the point that they've been cited across dozens and dozens of websites that naming them all off here would take forever. But to say the least, between IGN, between Bleeding Cool, again, we've been significantly covered since 2020. We've seen the release of Kate Bishop. We've seen the release of Clint. We saw the release of Black Panther. We saw the release of Spider-Man. Okay? And we saw them in that order. So again, while it is an interpretation of information, we land pretty solidly on point. And based off our new interpretation of information, looking at She-Hulk, Winter Soldier, and Captain Marvel, looking at just raw data, I, as a member of the community, and as someone outside the studio and outside of any kind of studio business and interpersonal relationships within the studios, do not understand why She-Hulk has not been released. And I see no reason that she will not be very soon. She has to be the next character after Winter Soldier unless they pull another Jane Foster and surprise us with another throw-in. That isn't from our 2020 data mining, right? Which, again, that's always possible. We can't know everything that they're working on, but we do know about these select characters, and we do know how far along She-Hulk is. So the question becomes, where is she? Now, all of that being said, all of this information, all of this interpretation, and all of this looking at raw information, obviously, she's had a Disney Plus show now. She's moving on to the big screen. She will potentially have a second season on Disney Plus as well. She-Hulk's popularity is at an all-time high. I know you fans want to make her personal and want to make these characters your own when you get into a game. What are must-have costumes and must-have outfits for She-Hulk, if for you, in your opinion? And then must-have abilities. Obviously, for me, I think her heroic needs to be twerking, and we'll see what happens. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and sharing our stuff with your friends. It helps immensely with YouTube's analytics and algorithms. Above all else, and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, and have a marvelous day. Bye, everyone.